Hi, I'm Holly, and with my sister Heather, you're listening to Haunted Family Podcast, a weekly podcast about the paranormal, unsolved mysteries, and even some true crime.
And boy, has this been an exciting week for true crime.
I know. It kind of makes me sad that the episode is not true crime.
I know. So, a few days ago, Did I send it to you, or did you send it to me?
You sent it to me.
Okay, I told you both of these big, exciting pieces of news.
You have. I honestly, in that second one, I had been busy, and I was visiting centers all day, so I had no clue that it even happened.
Okay, so, this week, we have found the resolution of a 1999 disappearance. Actually, I think we've talked about these girls in previous episodes.
We have.
Yeah. Laura Bible and Ashley Freeman were both 16 when they disappeared on December 30th, 1999. And apparently, really recently, some investigators who were, there was a regime change in the sheriff's office. One got voted out, another one came in, and while cleaning up an office, they found long lost notes about this case, and the notes led them straight to the men responsible for the girl's abduction.
That's amazing.
All three of the witnesses said that three men, Phil Welch, David Pennington, and Ronnie Buzzick, had all bragged about what they did to these girls. And yeah, apparently like 12 people has kept their mouth shut about this since 1999. They knew who was responsible to it and never...
And that's so unheard of for people to keep their mouth shut for that long.
I know. And then today, this morning, I woke up...
Oh my God. The biggest freaking news in true crime ever happened today.
There are cases that everyone, even people outside of the true crime community, always wonder about. Serial killers like Jack the Ripper. Like
Green River before we found him.
Yes.
BTK before he was caught.
And then the original Night Stalker.
Yeah.
The man who struck fear in an entire city.
Yeah.
And
well, really everywhere, because once he stopped, everybody assumed that he moved on somewhere else.
And then last night, a 72-year-old former police officer who lived
former
in
Navy
Citrus Heights, right in the heart of where the original Night Stalker prowled, was arrested.
Yeah, crazy.
I had a horrible migraine last night, and I slept in late today. And when I woke up, that was the first news that I saw on my phone. I squealed.
Looking at the suspect pictures of him, that very first picture that they show looks like this guy that I went to high school with.
But the person you went to high school with could not have been the original Night Stalker, because you're not that
old.
Well,
that is true.
And honestly, with this case, technology just caught up to him.
Yeah, which that happens. Yeah, I mean, unlike BTK, he was not trying to draw attention to himself with the police. He was not trying to get recognition for his crime. He was trying to lay low, and, his time just ran out.
He has, I think, officially been charged with the murders of Katie and Brian McGorry in Rancho Cordova, and he has also been charged with the murders of Charlene and Lyman Smith, according to press conferences that I've watched today. So yeah, very, very exciting news. I'm seeing a lot of people online saying maybe we'll catch Zodiac next. But I mean, we all know that Ted Cruz is really the Zodiac.
That would be amazing if that happened.
Oh yeah, totally. So apparently Anthony knew. He woke up well before me, was feeding animals, and saw the news. But he was like, "But you had a migraine, so I was just gonna let you sleep."
Oh my gosh!
No, this is the type of information that you wake me up for. You wake me up even if I've got a migraine. If someone is dead, dying, or they catch a really famous serial killer.
Right. And the only thing that I feel like could make this week in true crime better is if they caught the man who killed the girls in Indiana.
Yes.
The Delphi girls. Like, that is the only thing that I think could, like, make this week any better.
But I think that they're actually getting close to that.
Well, that's great.
So for those of you, and I'm sure all of our listeners are familiar with the original Night Stalker, some call him the East Bay Rapist, or the East Area Rapist, or the Diamond Knot Killer. We know that he committed at least 50 rapes and at least 12 murders between 1979 and 1986.
He is the reason that my storm windows stay up year round. Like, I have 3 layers of windows. Because if you break through one, I'm going to hear you enough to get my gun. And that's where it's going to end. Because I just, it's one of those, he's one of those serial killers that unfortunately shaped my life and how I live. And just because he's caught doesn't mean that means that, the storm windows are coming down.
Right. Because as we know, at any given time, there are quite a large number of serial killers active in the United States. I've seen a New York Times article a couple years ago said that there could be as many as 2,000 active serial killers. I think John Douglas usually says there's between 25 and 50 active serial killers in the United States at any given time. So yeah, I'm gonna always be a little bit cautious because there are people like the original Night Stalker still out there.
Yeah, and there's serial killers that haven't even started yet.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I don't even think we said who this guy is.
Oh, no, we did not. His name is Joseph D'Angelo.
He worked for a couple different police departments. He was actually fired from one because he got caught shoplifting, dog repellent, and a hammer.
I wonder what he was going to do with that.
Yeah.
The fact that he was one of them, he was a cop, I really want to know, did he work on this case at all? Did he work on this case?
Because I'm sure that the first that we know about was not his first.
Oh, I'm sure not.
There's a grooming period. There's a the build up. They don't just go out and commit their first rape and murder. Honestly, though, it would not surprise me if more serial killers were in some form of law enforcement or had wanted to be and then couldn't cut it.
Right.
Just because those type of people are drawn to positions where they are in some form of authority. Yeah, I'm not saying all cops are serial killers. They're not. I have a lot of friends who are cops and, most of them are
Hardly any of them are serial killers.
hardly any of them. Maybe just one or two. Possibly three. But yeah, very, very exciting week for true crime.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a great week.
Yeah. And, it raises the question, who are they going to catch next?
Oh. Who would you want them to catch? I mean, Zodiac would be awesome. We already know Jack the Ripper is out. That's never going to happen.
Oh, I don't know. They never caught that serial killer in Long Island in the mid-90s.
Wouldn't that be cool if... I know it's different coast, but wouldn't it be cool if it was the Golden State Killer also?
It would be. There was those serial murders that happened in the Daytona Beach area in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Mesa Bone Collector.
Oh, that would be good, yeah.
Yeah. And I really think that we're going to see more just because law enforcement is really getting high tech. If we've really funded our crime labs to the point where they could go through all of these rape kits.
Oh, God, you know how bad that drives me crazy? That there should not be a backlog. I don't know. I think if I won the lottery, that would be something that I would empty out Kentucky's crime lab. I'd be like, what needs to be done?
How much money
Here's
do you
funding.
need?
Yeah, let's do this. And then I would open animal rescue. And I would just save all the animals. So that's pretty much it. I would get our rape kits done, and I'd save all the animals. And then I'd move probably to a little cabin in Montana. I would not move to a cabin in Montana like Ted Kaczynski and bomb people, but I would just be a hermit. The only thing, I would have like Amazon Prime come to me all the time. That's it. And Zulily, because I've become addicted to that too.
Yeah. Well, should we get into our topic tonight, which is not true crime?
Yes, we can. The topic, we're talking about 2 movies back to back.
I know.
Last week we talked about The Rock. Actually, if you listened to last week, you know that we did not actually talk about the movie The Rock. I was very sad that we did not talk about the wrestler The Rock because he is fine. But we did talk about Alcatraz. And this week we're talking about the Winchester Mystery House, which is funny because neither one of us have watched the movie Winchester.
No, I wanted to, but things happen.
I know. I actually forgot that it came out on DVD and that I could watch it. And then when I realized that, I didn't have enough time. So, oops. So,
let's give a little information about Sarah Winchester, who is the woman who built the house.
Yeah. She was born in probably one of my favorite towns, New Haven, Connecticut. And I really wondered when she moved, like, why would you move from there?
We actually should have visited her grave while we were there.
So many things we should have done.
Because she's buried in New Haven.
We will go back. New England, we will come see you. And maybe we will, like, all get together at a bar or something.
Yes.
And just hang out. Backstory. So Sarah was born in New Haven, and she was born to Leonard and Sarah Party, and she was apparently gorgeous and super musically talented. And so when she came of age, everybody wanted to date her and marry her, and like she was a very much sought out bride.
Yes. And she won the affection of William Wirt Winchester, the only son of Oliver Winchester. And if you all have no knowledge about the Winchesters at all, or her, you probably know that Winchester's a gun.
Right. But they actually, Oliver Winchester started out making shirts.
Yes.
Like, he's a lot like me. I make shirts. Oliver Winchester makes shirts.
Are you also going to make rifles?
You don't know. I might. That might be my next endeavor, is I will make the gun that won the West again.
That's already been done.
I'll do it again. Yeah. So Oliver Winchester was a shirt manufacturer, and in 1857 he bought a firm that made the volcanic repeater, and that was just a lever action rifle. Well, he was pretty inventive and was like, okay, you know what, we can make this better. And he did. In 1860 he developed the Henry rifle, which had a tubular magazine that was located underneath the barrel, and it was easy to reload, so you could fire it multiple times. And so you could shoot one bullet like every 3 seconds, which today is nothing. But at the time, that was a really big deal. And it became very popular with the North during the Civil War.
Yeah.
Well, he started getting government contracts and just private sales. And so he realized, dang, I got something going on here, and restructured his company so that he really just kind of like gave up on shirts. And his company became the Winchester Repeating Arms Company.
And he ran it successfully until December of 1880, when he died.
Yep. And so all of that money went to
William.
William.
But 4 very short months later, William died of tuberculosis.
Right. Well, before he died of tuberculosis, they got married, him and Sarah, and they had a daughter, Annie.
Who died.
Right, so Annie only lived 6 weeks. And she died. And then her dad died. And so here is distraught Sarah with a whole lot of money. Like, I think she was getting $1,000 a day. And she had...
The estate, when she inherited it, was $20 million, 1800s money. Today, that'd be like $508 million.
Yeah.
So $500 million.
And she was still getting $1,000 every day. And none of that was taxed until like 1820 or something like that. So for a good portion of that time, she wasn't even getting taxed on this money. So she's torn up, and she's lost everybody.
Yeah. The Victorian era, there was also this really big spiritualist movement. You started seeing mediums and seances and people trying to commune with the dead. And we saw that after Abraham Lincoln died. Mary Todd really became caught up in the spiritualist movement.
Well, we found that when our cousin died, and our aunt became very obsessed with talking to mediums.
Yes. And Sarah Winchester was the same. After all of this loss, she turned to the spiritist movement and found a psychic out of Boston who would help her.
Never been to Boston in the fall.
We should go to Boston in the fall.
Then I can't sing that song.
But Boston looks like it'd be pretty in the fall.
I bet it would be. But then I wouldn't be able to sing that song because I would have been to Boston in the fall.
Yeah. Her psychic medium told her basically that her family was cursed.
Yeah, that she needed to start a whole new life.
That it was cursed by the spirits of all those who had been killed by the Winchester rifles.
Right. So she needed to pack up and move and build a house and never stop building. And if she stopped building it, she'll die. Now, I just want to stop for a second and say,
I think that this psychic
bullshit.
I think the psychic medium is like one of the worst people.
Right. I think
you do not take someone who is already distraught and probably teetering on the brink of a breakdown and tell them that they're cursed.
Yeah. So she sold her New Haven home and she moved to California.
San Jose. And she bought an 8-bedroom farmhouse on 525 South Winchester Boulevard. Well, that's the address that it was given.
Yeah. At the time, it was just in the middle of nowhere because it was a farmhouse.
Yeah. And she began adding on to the house.
22 carpenters, year-round, 24 hours a day.
7 days a week.
Could you imagine? I would go crazy. 36 years of noise constantly.
One of the guides at the Winchester house today actually says that it was because she loved renovating the house so much with her late husband that it brought her joy. Nobody enjoys renovations that much.
No. I mean, I've never actually renovated, but I can't imagine.
Holly, you can't even stand when the house doesn't have pictures on the wall.
I know. Whenever I move, I always make sure like the pictures on the wall are the last thing that goes, which is not super practical, but having stuff on the walls makes me happy.
Yeah. She also employed a team of 18 servants and 18 gardeners. Oddly specific that she had even number of staff.
I know, especially since inside the house 13 is a common number.
Yes. I did like the fact that you'll see this mentioned several times when people give descriptions of the house, and if you look at pictures of the house, you'll notice this too. The main entrance of the house is not lined up to the roof line directly above it. It's slightly askew.
I never noticed that.
Which really gives you a hint of what you're going to see inside the home.
I mean, like, for the craziness that this house is,
it's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
Yes. I mean, she spared no expense on the details of the house. You would think that this would be really just cobbled together, but the finishings are very detailed and really quality workmanship.
Right. They do not have an exact count of how many rooms is in this house.
Most estimates is 160. The house is 24,000 square feet. It features 13 bathrooms. The 13th bathroom has exactly 13 windows. There are 950 doors, 10,000 windows, many of which have 13 panes of glass. There are 40 stairwells. Not all of those stairwells are actually connected to floors, though. And there are 52 skylights, including one skylight that is installed in the floor.
That's weird. Yeah, it's just an odd house. And then part of the house was also damaged in an earthquake, that she was actually trapped in her bed. Could you imagine? Like, I'd probably, if I already thought that I was being haunted by the people who died at the hands of, a rifle that my shirt company made, because that's happening now, just so you know. I don't know what kind of gun I'm going to build, but it's happening.
But, I mean, it's good for her that she already had a staff of carpenters and construction workers who could dig her out.
Yeah, that's true.
There was extensive damage to the front section of the house that was, of course, being worked on at the time. So she just had them boarded up, and they never touched that section again. Many of the chandeliers hold 13 candles.
she had a seance room that she visited every single night before she went to bed.
I want a seance room.
No.
Oh. Please?
Well, you can have it in your house. I won't have it in my house.
Okay. You know what I think is most fascinating with this house?
What?
That after Sarah Winchester died, the estate sold the house for a mere $150,000.
That is crazy.
And it is still owned by the same family today. And they insist on absolute privacy and secrecy about who they are.
See, I think that's fantastic.
But they've opened the house up to tours.
I actually own that house.
There are very few things that make me want to visit California. Nothing against California. It's just,
Heather doesn't do heat or sun.
I don't. But I would go to California to see this house.
Okay, you know what I think is the most fascinating thing about Sarah Winchester?
Besides everything?
Well, I mean, she's completely nutty.
She's like your spirit animal.
Exactly. Apparently, she is described as 4'10". Who else do we know that's 4'10"? And everything else is personality. Oh, of course, she's loveliness, and I'm not lovely. But, like, she was a 4'10" ball of fire. And I relate to that.
Her will was written in 13 different sections. And she signed her will 13 times.
Weird. I mean, I guess she really did like 13.
Yes. They had the house up for tours just 5 months after Sarah Winchester died.
Yeah. Apparently carpenters stopped immediately when they found out she died and just left
nails half driven into the walls, things half done. They stopped and walked off the job right then. Of course, I mean, I guess she was working them to death.
Yeah. Okay, so some people think that the house is a crazy maze of doors that go to nothing or cabinets that go through, 8 different rooms and doors that open to drop into the sink and another door that opens to a drop into the garden and stairs that go up to nothing and, complete craziness, all the while looking beautiful. But people think that she did that because she was trying to hide from the ghosts in her house.
Yeah. There's actually rooms that you can't get to. There are windows that go to nothing. There are doors that go to nothing. There's one room that when you open a door in it, there's a 2-story drop. If she was trying to hide from these ghosts and spirits, why was she holding seances every single night?
Right, because that would kind of be like, hey, come hang out with me.
She was also apparently getting direction for how to build the house from them, but you can't hide from ghosts. You can't run from them.
Right.
I mean, I know when we were little kids and something scares us, our first instinct is to pull the blanket up and over our head, but they still know you're there. They can still get to you. And if she was truly being haunted, she would know that.
Right.
And
well,
yeah, honestly, I think that like Mrs. Lincoln, she just experienced way too much, way too fast, and she couldn't mentally handle it.
Right. These people who say you'll never be given more than you can handle, that is bullshit. Sometimes you are given more than you can handle and you have a psychic break. Not psychic. So you have a psychotic break.
Well, you can have a psychic break too. You did that for several years.
Yeah. She probably wishes she could take a psychic break. In 1990, the Winchester Management Company, which owns the house, had a parapsychologist, paranormal investigator, Christopher, I'm sorry, Christopher, I'm going to say your name wrong, Cashone, conduct a full-scale scientific assessment of the property, a month-long, 24-hour-a-day investigation. And they interviewed over 300 people regarding their experiences. But you know what? I could not find anything that said what the result of that was.
Yeah, I couldn't either. I did find something where a few tour guides says that the servants' quarters, which is not on the tour, is extremely haunted. But as far as actual evidence of hauntings in this house, I've not found many.
Yeah, I have not.
And I've not
either.
found many credible stories.
Right. I mean, there is the case of the handyman. And pretty much you just feel a presence. And sometimes a man will appear with jet black hair. Sometimes he's repairing a fireplace. Sometimes he's pushing a wheelbarrow. That kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I've never been to the Winchester house, so I can't say that all of this is fake or true. But the fact that there's hardly any actual stories about this most haunted place ever makes me think that...
Especially considering there are so many tours in this house.
Right. You can even get married there. That'd be kind of cool. I'd want to get married at Waverly Hills. Because I know that place is haunted.
Yes. Though, I don't think Waverly Hills is as haunted as some people think it is.
Right.
And I'm sure there are people out there who will argue that, but I've been there. You can't convince me it's the most haunted place, even in Kentucky.
Right. I mean, it is haunted, though. There's a story of the secret hand or invisible hand, and a man was on a ladder working in the Hall of Fires where there's a bunch of fireplaces, and he had somebody tap him on the shoulder, and keep in mind he's standing on a ladder. So he got off the ladder and went and started working in another area because, well, that's a little bit freaky. Then I guess outside the Daisy bedroom, which people say was her favorite bedroom, but if she slept in a different bedroom every night, I'm not really sure how we know that's her favorite bedroom.
And apparently she also would sometimes spend the night at a separate residence in another...
Really?
Yes. Which probably really got chaotic considering she'd have to be at the Winchester house every night for her seance.
I know. Well, anyway, outside that room there was a sigh, which, I mean, come on, it's a sigh. So, I mean, really, that's... I don't really have
There's
any...
no convincing evidence for me that this is haunted.
Right. I mean, a fantastic house, a architectural marvel, yes. Haunted, I'm going to say probably not. Just because something is weird and looks freaky doesn't mean that it's haunted.
Yeah, I think really what we have here is a woman consumed by her grief.
Absolutely. Like that's what I think. I think that she was just so emotionally beaten when, I couldn't imagine losing my child, much less than immediately losing my husband, and all of this shortly after losing my father-in-law.
And then suddenly getting that much money dropped on your lap.
Right.
It is now yours. Money is a responsibility.
Right. I mean, it's a responsibility I wouldn't mind having, but I just feel like she had this incredible burden and sadness, and then got some very irresponsible reading from I'm going to say, so-called psychic who probably knew that she got money, lots and lots of money, and was trying. I'm just throwing that out, that she probably got a shit reading because the person was trying to scam her.
Yeah. There's another theory, is that Sarah Winchester was actually a member of some secret societies. And that's the true meaning behind the house.
Well, that's possible because the house does have lots of symbols throughout it.
Yes. There are some that say that she saw herself as the reincarnation of Francis Bacon. And that there are windows and other signs in the house that point to this theory. Some believe that she was, I can't pronounce it, Rosicrucian, and a Freemason. And that was her, that the seance room was really her sanctum, where she did her meditations and her studies. I didn't know that women could be Masons, though.
I did not know that they could either, but I mean, I've never had anybody ask me to be a part of a secret organization. And if they did, I wouldn't be able to tell you guys.
I mean, I know that there's a women's organization that is like the sister organization to Freemasons.
Is that the Eastern Star?
Yes. I've got several friends who are part of that. And I've got a lot of friends who are Masons, and I've never met a female Mason. I don't know. I think it's irrelevant. I think that in a house that large with that much stuff, you're going to be able to find something to validate any viewpoint you want to take on it.
Right. It's kind of what glasses are you looking at this through? But my glasses, I'm looking at it through. She was heartbroken and just lost it. Just lost her mind. And did not have a support system at all.
Yeah. There's a continuing theme in the house of spider webs. I don't know if you read anything about that.
Yeah, she designed the spider webs in a lot of the areas that had... Abby would not be able to deal with that. She's terrified of everything spider.
Or as she calls them, nopes.
Yeah, nopes. That is Hannah's job, is to make sure that all nopes are gone.
Spider webs in general was kind of a thing in the Victorian era, and it could mean different things to different people. Some people's take on the spider and the spider web was that they were very industrious, because spiders are always doing something. They're building these elaborate webs. They're catching their prey and spinning them into I don't even know what those are called, cocoons. But some looked at spiders more of a bad thing, because they can bite you and they can bring on death. So yeah, we don't know what the spider web meant to her.
Right. I mean, it could just be she liked the shape.
Truth. I mean, I think spider webs are actually very pretty. If you go to the Winchester Mystery House website, under the section of paranormal activity, it says numerous visitors, tour guides, and employees experience strange phenomenon such as capturing orbs,
also known as dust spots.
Yeah. Orbs just don't, unless I can see it with my naked eye, they don't impress me.
Although I do have to say that orb that I caught on live picture of the house next door, like, That's legit. And I know I've said this before, but if any of our listeners have an iPhone and you want to see this, I will happily text it to you. I was randomly taken, like, I know I've mentioned this on several episodes. My next door neighbor died, and I'm a shitty neighbor, and she laid there for like 3 days before anybody discovered that she was dead. She was like 90 some years old. The sweetest woman ever. I adored her. And I was looking at her house because I was thinking about buying it, because she has a basement and I don't. So in her basement, I was snapping pictures just with my phone because Abby couldn't go look at it with me. And I snapped a picture, and then like I didn't see anything, and it was in just a section of the basement. So yeah, it could be dusty. But I was looking at the pictures, and I have an iPhone, so I have live pictures. So I was holding it down to look at it, and this orb shoots from my right side, flies through the air over to like my upper left. And it was so fast that it caught it in the live picture. But if you just looked at the picture, you don't see anything. Very freaky.
I was, that little impromptu trip I took to Poasttown Elementary School. I wasn't recording at the time, and I wish I had been. But I was walking in the, downstairs in the kitchen and cafeteria area. And I saw this ball. It was iridescent like a fish scale, but about the size of a tennis ball. Move down the hall and then turn and go into another room. I mean, see this with my naked eye. And at the end of our walkthrough, I'm sitting in the office with the guy who owns the place and runs the place. And I noticed that he has security cameras that cover most of the building. And I'm like, oh, that's very smart of you, because I'm sure you get a lot of people trying to break in here. And he says, yeah, I can sit up here and I can watch the orb move in the cafeteria area. He says, it looks about the size of a tennis ball, but it's iridescent like a fish scale.
Cool.
And I'm like, oh crap, I saw that. So, yeah, fun times. If anybody is in the Middletown, Ohio area, I highly recommend visiting that school and taking a tour. Super nice people that run the place, that own the place. They live on site. I was pleasantly surprised by the building and how haunted it is.
Yeah, you told me that. I'm going to have to go.
I just don't think that the Winchester house is particularly haunted. I mean, there may be a ghost or two in the building.
Right.
I mean...
But I do not believe that people who died with the rifle is haunting the place. I mean, I kind of feel like that it was probably somebody who didn't agree with guns.
Probably. Man, that psychic medium though, they really screwed her up.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that the house actually even has spy holes, so she could spy in other rooms and stuff.
I know. It's almost a fancy version of H.H. Holmes' place.
Yes, like a non-murder shack.
Yeah. Okay, great. Now I've got Murder Shack sung to the tune of Love Shack stuck in my head.
That'd make a cute shirt, Holly.
It's a Murder Shack. It would be.
Follow me back to my Murder Shack.
I'm gonna have to make a shirt that says Murder Shack.
Well, I came up with the idea, so I'll get one.
Okay.
And if you would like a Murder Shack shirt, send us an email at hauntedfamilypodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, because actually, I've been plugging my Etsy shop at the end of our episodes, and it is cat hair glitter. The cat the C and cat, H and hair, and G and glitter are all capitalized. I don't know if that matters, but yeah, name of the shop is Cat Hair Glitter. Because you will probably get both with your order. Unintentionally, of course.
If you are in the San Jose, California area and you need a job, the Winchester Mystery House is hiring tour guides.
That's awesome.
Gift and ticket cashiers, food cashiers, janitorial staff, office clerks, and painters. Because
Pretty
I'm
much
guessing if
everything.
you have a 24,000 square foot house, you're going to have to touch up the paint a lot.
Yeah.
And if you have a house that has 160 rooms and like 200 fireplaces, actually I don't think it's 200 fireplaces, but it's a lot of fireplaces, you're going to need a lot of, janitorial staff. In California, we might make our way out there someday and visit San Jose.
We will. Actually, it is safe to go to California now because they've caught the Golden State Killer.
Oh, but there's so many other... Well, do we have a stupid criminal for this week?
Oh, we do. And it is funny.
I have sent Holly, so much good stuff this week.
I know. I feel like I've been a responsible, person and done, my day job stuff, hardcore. And I've not had time to, look for all of the stuff that Heather has.
Yeah. Well, I like fajitas.
Well, I'm not crazy about fajitas, but I love tacos.
Well, a man in Texas, and Texas takes their Mexican food, their Tex-Mex food serious.
They do. Very serious.
A man in Brownsville, Texas was just sentenced to time in prison. 50 years worth of time in prison for stealing fajitas.
What?
He stole $1.2 million worth of fajitas.
Dang.
Yeah. Gilberto Escamilla, 53, was previously employed at the Darrell B. Hester Juvenile Detention Center in San Benito, Texas. And while there, he used his position to order cases of, food service cases of fajitas using county funds. When they'd be shipped to the facility, he'd intercept them, and then he'd sell them, and all that money was profit for him.
Well, at least he wasn't eating all those fajitas
Until one day when he had to go to a doctor's appointment.
Oh no.
Yeah. The delivery driver for Labatt Food Services phoned the detention center to give the employees a heads up that he was shipping in 800 pounds of fajitas. And the employees was like, what? We don't serve fajitas here. The delivery driver was like, I've been delivering fajitas here for 9 years. Same day.
Don't make your appointment on the same day that your fajita delivery comes. I mean, that's just basic fajita theft rules.
Yeah. I mean, that's fajita theft 101.
That is. I mean, if you're going to steal fajitas, don't make a doctor's appointment on the day that your fajita delivery is coming.
Yeah. So, they were able to trace it back to our poor, simple Gilberto. And every time I say Gilberto, I think of that would probably be something that Kimmy Gibbler would say on the show.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just had to throw in a Full House reference there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know.
How do you do that? How do you steal that many fajitas and not get caught for 9 years?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, how do you kill and rape people for a long time and then have 30 years where you're not caught?
But he has to pay back the $1.2 million in fajitas and a $10,000 fine and serve his prison
I mean,
time.
how's he going to get the money?
All because he really liked fajitas.
That's crazy.
No, when I read that story, and there was a few contenders for our stupid criminal this week, but the fact that I love fajitas is the reason why Gilberto is our stupid criminal.
Yeah.
But Gilberto, I'm very glad that you were not eating all of those fajitas by yourself, because you'd weigh like...
Oh my God, he would be... We'd be on the toilet.
Yes.
So we've done stupid criminal, we've updated. So really all that's left is, if you would like to start a podcast of your own, we highly recommend Podbean because they're awesome. We've been using them for over a year now and have absolutely had no issues. Super easy to upload. The analytics were great before, but they've changed them a little and they've actually gotten better and easier. And I mean, you can find out
with our
Instagram, with our YouTube and our it's fantastic. And we have a nice website, hauntedfamilypodcast.com.
It's very hands off for us.
It is, and it's all thanks to Podbean.
We are not tech savvy individuals.
Not at all.
People who have listened to us from the very beginning, you feel us. You know what we're talking about.
I feel like they all need to get an award. Like, if you've listened to us from the beginning, like, let us know.
Like, and we'll send you. You know what we sounded like.
We'll send you something, because, man, you deserve it. Because those earlier episodes were painful. If you want to tweet us, tweet at us. Tweedly dees.
Yeah,
tell them how to do that.
I handle our tweets.
I do not tweet.
I don't tweet as often as I should. But if you tweet and you would like to send us a tweet, go to Haunted Family Podcast /tweet and then click on the big tweet us. And it will bring up a pre-filled tweet that says, "Love the new episode from the Girls at Haunted Family Podcast." And all you have to do is hit send, and it's out there in the Twitterverse for the world to see that you love your Girls at Haunted Family Podcast.
That would be awesome.
But yeah, like Holly said, we really love Podbean. We just really love it, man.
We do. You know what else I love? I'm scrolling through our Instagram right now, which, if you would like to follow us on Instagram, is also Haunted Family Podcast.
We're fairly active on our Instagram.
We are. But I'm scrolling through, and it's so funny because every other person that we follow is talking about the Golden State Killer. And it's, I don't know, I feel like that's how you know you've surrounded yourself with awesome people. If everybody is talking about the same thing, and it's something positive and cool, like, we caught this asshole.
We're all pretty much freaking out about the same thing right now. And that's glorious. And
it is because, like, how often does that happen where, like, everybody is going, "Oh my God, that's so awesome!" Usually when people get all fired up together, it's usually over something stupid.
And in this case, it's over something really awesome. I know that we tend to give law enforcement a bad rap in some of our videos because in a lot of the cases we cover, it's been error on the part of law enforcement. Them dropping the ball on something that has led to the killer getting off or the killer never being found. It's refreshing to be able to say they got their act together. They caught this guy. They all get, they pulled their resources. They worked as a team. And, I mean, better late than never.
Right. I mean, I'm so excited that this man is not dead.
I would love nothing more than to be able to hug every one of the people who made this arrest possible.
Yeah.
And by the same token, I would love nothing more than to track down those 12 people who kept their silence about the Freeman Bible case.
And just punch them in the face.
And punch them in the face. Because those girls deserve justice well before this.
Yeah.
And instead, these 12 people let a bunch of meth dealers get by with this for years. Disgusting.
Such a shame. I know, it's such a shame.
I'm really glad that we were able to bring our listeners some really good news today.
Oh, me too.
And it's going to be old news by the time they listen to it, because we won't put it up until next week. But
it will probably be Sunday.
But I'm excited. I'm happy. And we have some good episodes lined up for
May.
The coming weeks. May is going to be super busy for us.
Shoo, ain't that the truth? I've got 2 kids graduating.
Abby shouldn't be graduating.
Oh no, lots going on around here.
She should still be the little baby who asked me for M&M's. She still asks me for M&M's.
So, in my head, I can imagine that she's not left me yet. Although they have been looking at apartments.
Is she all set to go to school in the fall?
She is, and she's excited because school, she got her financial award information last week, and it's all a go, and it pays to be smart. Although if she had taken the ACT one more time instead of the once that she took it, she probably would have gotten more scholarships. But with the scholarships that she's got, it's all.
Listen, she still did better on her ACT than a lot of people do on theirs.
Well, she did better on her ACT than I did.
Is she still going to the one away from you? Or is she decided on the school in town?
Oh, she's going here. She's going to live at home.
I figured that she couldn't leave her dog.
Yeah, and that was it. Not that she cares about mom. It's I can't leave my dog because when I'm gone for the day and you're here, she likes to hang out with you, and I don't want her to forget about me.
Okay, well, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to us ramble here at the end. Like us, rate us, review us, follow us on YouTube. We'll probably be getting together soon to film some more videos for our YouTube channel. It's difficult. We don't live close together, but we make it work.
Yeah, we do. Anyway, thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.